If I were to tell you today that India's medical education system is broken, if you're familiar with India's medical education system, you will not listen to that statement with any degree of surprise. It might even meet, you might even receive that information with a yawn, with a duh, with a what else is new. But if you're not from the medical education system in India, or if you're just dipping your toe in it, you should be aware of why I believe, as do many others like me, that India's medical education system is broken. Now, I'm not saying India's healthcare system is broken. I'm not saying Indian doctors are not as qualified as any other doctors in any other part of the world. I currently have registration to practice medicine both in India and in the United Kingdom, and most of my knowledge has been gained in India. And despite having passed exams in the United Kingdom, I passed it because of the knowledge I gained in India. Although there is a little bit of extra information, extra finesse, extra fine tuning that I also learned during the coaching that I attended for passing the UK-based exams. I don't want to compare healthcare systems of India with that of any other country. That's a slippery slope because India is a country of more than 1 billion people who require healthcare. And to expect that those people can fly out to other countries with better healthcare systems to seek healthcare, it's just not a practical solution. And it's also not right to say that healthcare is always better in other places. In many ways, Indian healthcare system is of a world-class standard. So the debate about how good India's healthcare is, which probably means much more to India's population, is a separate issue. But this video narrowly focuses on India's medical education system and how I believe, like many other people, it is completely broken. Now, why I think it is broken is the slew of litigation that almost always follows the publication of a notification regarding an exam or the results of the exam, especially the entrance exams. And because our powers that be have made the nomenclature so simple, all the exams are called NEET. You have NEET UG, NEET PG, and NEET SS. So NEET UG is for entrance to MBBS courses, NEET PG is for entrance to MD, MS courses or DNB courses, that is postgraduate courses, and NEET SS is for super specialization courses. And no matter when the exam is held, whether it is NEET UG or it is NEET PG, there is always a lawsuit following it. Now, I don't object to the lawsuits, pun not intended. Lawsuits are the right of the citizens, and I believe that in a democracy like India, public policy should always be debated. Before the policy, after the policy, during the policy, debate is welcome. Now, this debate can happen in day-to-day life, between colleagues, between teachers and students, in social media, in mainstream media, and even in the courtrooms. And I hope it also happens in the executive and the legislative branches of government. So debate is welcome. I'm not against the litigation or people expressing their disagreement with certain policies. But when every year, without fail, there is disagreement, there is litigation, then there's something which is definitely broken in the healthcare system. Freudian slip there, in the medical education system. I don't think, I want to reiterate here, I don't think much is broken in India's healthcare system. That would be disingenuous of me to say, because I have seen many acts of bravery, acts of almost miraculous recovery that Indian doctors have been able to pull off. And I don't think Indian doctors are better than other doctors. Again, that's not the point. But India's healthcare system, while requiring improvement, is quite good. And I can really defend that with a little bit of certainty, having been a doctor in India for quite some time now. So that's not the issue here. Medical education system is broken not just because of the consistency of the lawsuits that follow the publication of results or the publication of dates of exams or a publication of a change in the exam pattern. It's also broken because of the things that medical students have begun to take for granted. One of the most, I would say, poisonous things, demoralizing things that medical students have started taking for granted is the realization that their future is not within their is not something that they can control. It's not something that is subject to the choices they make. It's more like the choices that are made for them. Now, if you want to be a doctor, the important word is want. You want to be a doctor. So to become a doctor, you have to figure out which exams you need to take. In India, the only exam you need to take is NEET UG. Then based on your performance in that exam, you either join a government college or you join a private college, or you might even join a college outside India. All of that happens after NEET UG. And I've made a video on this channel where I've said, do not discriminate a medical student based on the kind of college they are studying in. Don't say that a student who is studying in a very renowned government medical college is definitely going to be a better doctor than somebody who is from a less renowned college, be it government or private or from overseas. Because while there are factors that one cannot control, and definitely studying in a renowned college with a lot of good repute, with a lot of good reputation does help, mostly because of the goodwill generated by the alumni of the hospital and various other things. But it often boils down to the individual. Don't forget the individual who is striving to become a doctor despite their circumstances, or sometimes because of their circumstances. Every situation brings with it its unique set of challenges. It doesn't mean that if you're studying in what is regarded as the best medical college by everyone in India, life is a bed of roses. It's not. It's always going to be challenging. So that's the situation with MBBS. You have these options. You have the government medical colleges, you have the private medical colleges, and you have the colleges outside India. So an element of choice is still there, especially if you can afford it financially. But when you can't afford it financially, again, your choices are made for you. Your choices are made depending upon the performance in a certain exam. Now, proponents of this idea would say that, or advocates of this idea would say, backers of this idea would say that if you can't deliver on the day of the exam, then you are not able to perform under pressure, which is something you'll be expected to do every day as a doctor. So this is valid. This kind of testing is valid. Now, I'm not going to get into the uh, science behind evaluation, but I just want to say that there are many aspirants who, not just in medical entrance exams, but in other entrance exams also, they appear in the exam, and when the results are not of a certain rank, they have to drop out, literally. Sometimes they drop out for a year, sometimes they drop out from the race to become a doctor. Now, for those who are fortunate enough to become doctors, even from government medical colleges, they now have to gear up for the next entrance exam, which is the entrance exam for post-graduation, which is NEET PG. Now, in NEET PG, again, you have these choices of government medical college, private medical college, and 23 different specialties, which I have talked about in a previous video. Now, here, not only are you not able to understand which subject is going to be best for you, most medical students make up their mind based on their own experience during internship or during MBBS when they develop a liking or a affinity for a certain subject. Many people develop affinities for orthopedics, some develop for general medicine, some for general surgery, some for obstetrics and gynecology, some for pediatric medicine. But there are many subjects which people do not have much exposure to, they do not know much about during MBBS or even during internship. So they naturally are not able to figure out whether this is a good subject or not. Now, I don't think it is the duty of the specialists in those subjects be to evangelize, to to propagate how good a certain subject is for your career, because ultimately the subject you specialize in becomes your career. I don't think that is their duty. I would say a subject like radio diagnosis, which is considered one of the most lucrative subjects for post graduation, we have very little exposure to it during MBBS as well as during internship. But once you see that specialists in that subject are doing well, are happy with their life, you automatically aspire to pursue post-graduation in subjects like that. So I don't think one needs to worry about that. I am pretty sure that medical students have a way of figuring out which subject is best for them. What I am not happy with is that despite medical students being able to understand which subject will be best for them based on the kind of people they are, the kind of aspirations they have, the kind of doctors they want to become, almost every medical student has come to the realization that it is not just about what they want, it is also about the quality of their rank in NEET PG exam or in INI CET exam. Ultimately, many medical students compromise with their first choice. There are many medical students who pursue post graduation in a subject which was not their first choice. And they tell themselves, as rational human beings, that let's not think about things we can't control. In India, we don't choose a subject, our rank chooses the subject for us. Because the situation is that whoever is rank 1, that person has all the choices available to them, all subjects in all the colleges that fall under the jurisdiction of a particular exam. And as your rank goes further down the list, the choices start shrinking. And consequently, what happens is, based on historical trends, you start describing certain subjects as not as attractive as others, because less attractive rank holders were taking those subjects. And this perpetuates a myth that a certain subject is not as good as another subject. This is a better subject, that is not as good a subject, maybe that doesn't. And then you try to rationalize it. Maybe you try to find reasons why that subject is not good, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. That is also not good. What I want to see in India is, and this system did exist, that people should be able to figure out which subject they want to pursue post-graduation in. The best way to do that is work in that subject for some time, develop an understanding for the subject, maybe for 2 months, maybe for 3 months, and then see whether the subject is working for you. And then you should be able to apply to be a specialist in that subject, and maybe through interviews, maybe through written exams, but have subject specific tests. And then if you find out you're not able to do well in the exams which are required for entrance in those subjects, then fine, that's all right. The problem is here, I am sure what the bureaucrats must be thinking, that certain subjects have already developed this reputation of not being attractive, and you need specialists in every single subject. So if you do not make it so that uh, everybody is appearing in the exam where all these 23 options are available to everyone, then maybe there may be a subject like, say, ENT, where nobody wishes to be a specialist, so there are no seats filled up in ENT, and with time, that specialty becomes extinct. I don't think it will. I don't think it will, for the simple reason that people will have ear, nose, or throat. People will have ear, nose, throat complaints. People will have diseases which require the expertise of experts. Now, while this is a very simple explanation because it is a clinical subject, this also exists for every single subject, even so-called non-clinical subjects, because you need to train every medical student. Every doctor today was once a medical student and required teachers in every subject. So at least those subjects you definitely will get specialists in, because the need will remain. And the moment you reach a situation where, say, there are no anatomy teachers, it will create a need in the medical fraternity for anatomy teachers, and that will, I believe, dictate the automatic filling up of vacant anatomy positions. That's just a proposition I have, and this is not unheard of. This is how things were done in India in the era when entrance exams for post-graduation did not exist. Now, there may be questions about what about reservation. So you can have reservation in this alternative method as well. We do not want to discriminate against anyone. But I don't want to live in a world where every medical student, after every PG entrance exam that I talk to, says that in our country, we don't choose our specialization options. We only choose to study as much as possible to get a rank as good as possible, and then we get as many options as possible. That is why YouTube videos made by toppers get almost crores of views, because everybody wants to be a topper, because nobody wants to get into a situation where they feel helpless because they don't have the choices. Everybody wants choices. We want to choose our lives. We don't want an all-seeing but unseen entity, which is our rank, or the authorities which decide our ranks due to opaque assessment methods. Again, let's not criticize the assessment method. The whole fact that an exam is deciding, a rank in an exam is deciding our entire career, is faulty at best and cruel at worst. So maybe we really don't want somebody pursuing post-graduation or specialization in a subject that is not their first choice, not their second choice even, and being miserable throughout. What option do they have? They can pursue the post-graduation, and if they find that they are not living up to or not able to keep up with the demands of a subject, because frankly speaking, there isn't a subject that is easy. Every subject is demanding. Every subject requires attention, discipline, dedication, diligence. So if you're not genuinely interested in a subject, you will not be pursuing it with any interest. You will lose interest. You will not be as efficient as somebody who is genuinely interested in the subject. So then what do? Then you again appear in NEET PG, and again you go through the same cycle of hell. So I believe Indian medical education system is broken, but if you believe otherwise, let me know in the comment section. Take care, bye-bye, and please don't forget to be awesome.